Hi there. The better you plan, the faster you'll write. Last week I spoke to you about how to decide on how many words per week you need to produce in order to meet your schedule for finishing your manuscript. But it's all very well saying you write a certain number of words, but what will those words be? If you just sit down at your computer and spill it, will it make sense? Well, it might, or it might not. The difference is how well you know your material and how well you plan. So let's say you're a landscape gardener and you're going to write a book that will help gardeners in different regions of the world know what they should plant and when and how to keep their garden in bloom year round. Now, I know nothing about gardening. This is just a random thought. In fact, one of the reasons I love working with authors is that I get to learn so much about subjects I knew nothing about before. But I digress. So the first thing you'll need to decide is how are you going to arrange the material? What's the logical order for the book from the reader's standpoint? Maybe you want to start by addressing the fact that not all plants grow in the same conditions. And you might elaborate about what grows well and where. You might decide to talk about different categories of plants and how they grow, etc. Once you've done that, make a table of contents. That's my recommendation. Now, I have talked about this before in previous videos, so check out my blog at mhwilkiebooks.com if you'd like to listen to those again. So now you're ready to start writing. Now, this is your area of expertise, so presumably once you know what the category or what each chapter is going to be about, you should be able to simply write it as if you were talking to somebody in a conversation, which works very well. Another way that works for some people, instead of starting with a table of contents, is that they start writing with whatever they know best. So maybe you write a chapter on types of soil, even though that is not actually going to be the first chapter in the book, but it might be a subject you know a lot about. So start with that and then do the same for the other chapters. And then at the end of the first draft, when you think you've written everything that you want to say, then you can sort out the structure of the book. It's not as usual, but it is another way of attacking the content. So whatever way you do it, before you sit down to write, know what the content is for that writing session. And then just simply write it as if you were telling it to somebody over a cup of coffee. It's a first draft. You can sort it later, but that's a great way to get the words down to begin with. And now, rinse and repeat until you finish your manuscript.